Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and you're watching mirror.co.uk. Woo! Woo, 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 woo!
Speculation, without any real journalistic substantiation, has often identified your financial situation as the main reason you came back full-time, active on-screen talent. I'm more interested in how strong, despite whether the issue of money is relevant or not, how much of a pull really needing to do what you're most acclaimed for is that motivation. Is it that you need to entertain, is the best and most rewarding way that you engage with people in your professional and personal life?
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
So that's a huge pull.
Yeah, I don't make anywhere near the money right now that I've made in the past. And I have other outside sources of income. But when you go through 2 divorces, you can always use more.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie to you. Paying for weddings and stuff like that requires income.
So it really is about...
It's about my love of the business.
What would you do if you weren't wrestling? Would you be playing golf? Would you be bored?
Well, I only wrestle from 52 days a year. So, I mean, it's not like I'm work for the North Carolina and South Carolina Lottery. And I'm about to go to work for five more states with the Woo ticket. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
It's done very well. And I work for Coca-Cola. I work for NASCAR. So I've got a variety of things I could do. And I could do more of it. But, I'm not gonna work 300 days a year anymore. So.
And gardening is not your thing, obviously.
Huh?
Gardening is not your thing.
No. My hobby is boating. I've got a nice boat, but I want a bigger boat.
Always have a bigger boat.
Yeah, I want a bigger boat. And my biggest hobby is boating. I love boating. And was playing with my kids, but they're all grown up now. So
I suppose so, yeah.
Yep. The youngest one just started wrestling, so he's doing great.
I'm Sorry I Love You was one of the most brilliantly executed moments in wrestling history. How did you and Shawn Michaels reach that creative decision as a climax to the match?
We didn't.
It was off the cuff?
That was all off the cuff.
Never. Really?
For sure. We didn't even talk about that. I didn't know about this till after I walked in the locker room.
Really?
Yeah. People have an impression of Vince McMahon. Vince didn't give me this. Shawn did after the match.
Is that a knock? Is that a knock on Vince? Or?
No. Somebody actually thought that Vince McMahon bought Shawn and I these matches, his watches. That came up the other day in a media question. Shawn bought this for me, and he bought a match he won for himself.
Well, that was a superb ending to the match.
Yeah. Then. No, I didn't know he was going to say that. I had no idea.
It was brilliantly delivered as well.
He's phenomenal.
I thought that.
But it was respect. I mean, that's how he felt about me, and that's what made the moment so special.
It was a superb performance as well. After the initial speculation that Mickey Rourke might compete in the ring against Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 25, was there any traction to the idea that it might be you in the ring to face Jericho?
No, it was me to manage Mickey the
Really?
whole time.
Okay.
But what happened is that when Jericho got on Larry King, and basically called Mickey out, Mickey's managers and team said, they're going to do this to you. So they're going to talk to you like this on CNN. What are they going to do if they get you in their own house? And it just created that, that aura of, uncomfortability. He wasn't comfortable with it. So it took a lot of coaxing to get Mickey to come. Because he was already in, making of Iron Man 2 and all that. And actually the funny thing is that Vince ultimately called, Vince can call anybody. And he called the president of Marvel and said, I want Mickey there. He's going to be okay.
It seemed unusual that when you were already involved in the angle, that as great as they are, that Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka and Ricky Steamboat would be put in that spot. Especially when, with all due respect, well, apart from possibly Ricky in relation to the other pair, where you're in much better working condition than Roddy for his illness and Jimmy for his age, really. Did you think that might happen, or did you want that spot?
Well, I was happy with the whole thing. I mean, I basically was the one that built the angle around,
Sure.
with the stuff that Chris and I love that. I mean, who doesn't want to be the center of attention? I knew that was an example of them letting me be and giving me the ball, You don't got to tell me to do it twice. And I had a great time doing it. I love working with Chris Jericho. He's a phenomenal
Amazing
guy.
performer.
Yeah, and really a good guy. I mean, it's more to it than just his ability. Chris is a guy that he's incredibly dedicated and committed to the business, and he went out there and performed and worked his ass off. Chris is a great guy.
Personally, from my perspective, I see him as your heir apparent, as in that role as the most complete worker that can always get something over and not have it affect them
Yeah, I mean,
in a negative way.
He's learned. I mean, he's a very unselfish performer, and he performs at a very high level all the time. The 2 years that he left we missed him a lot.
I'm being a little bit euphemistic here when I mention how important cosmetic appearances in professional wrestling, but I don't want to pursue a line of questioning about steroids or anything like that.
You ask me anything you want to ask me.
No, I'd be very interested to know what you think about those similar kind of pressures, and it's not really discussed much on female performers, because increasingly, not necessarily maybe for their work rate, but the female performers, both on WWE and TNA, command very high ratings, don't they? What do you think about those kind of different kind of cosmetic pressures on female performers?
Actually, I have a lot of respect for the girls. I did in WWE, and I certainly do at TNA, because they're much more physical at TNA than they are at WWE. I mean, and that's just the style of wrestling. I mean, the stuff that TNA does is all across the board more physical than it is at WWE. But that's, a little bit of that's because Vince has toned the show down, because he's really concerned about the advertising dollars and capturing the younger audience. Whereas TNA, I think, is more concerned with the cross demographic appeal, but wants to give them something a little more cutting edge.
Okay.
Whereas Vince was so cutting edge 10 years ago, now he's calmed it down a little bit.
And is Lacey Von Erich, is she guaranteed a spot for a long time?
Well, Lacey, a lot of people don't realize that is independently, making a great living in LA. She has her own company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she just does it for the love of wrestling, and I think Lacey will be at it as long as she wants to be. Lacey just needs more ring time, because she's a phenomenal athlete. But it isn't just about being an athlete; it's about learning your craft. And that Lacey's only problem is that she just works for them very sporadically, always at TV, but she doesn't go on the road very much, and that's how you learn.
Is it a difficulty with the female division that they don't, I mean, I don't want to overstate the parallels between her father and you, and it's been reported a lot that for various reasons you often had to carry Von Erich through matches, huge drawing matches. Is it, they don't really have that kind of worker in the female side I mean, Tara might have been the closest.
Yeah, I was going to say they had one, but she just left.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, I'm pretty impressed with all the girls they have there at TNA. I mean, they've got some girls that can really perform. I don't even know their real names. I've only been for a short period of time, so I only know them by their ring names. But they're very nice people, and much to the dismay of all the guys, they keep to themselves, which would have never happened if I was 30 years old. I'd have broken that all up. But yeah, they're very professional, and they put in the time to get to the arena early. They put a lot of time and thought into the matches, and they go out and perform at a high level.
Well, the rewards will come.
They just socialize minimally. It's very discouraging.
There's always another bar, Rick. There's always another bar.
That's right.
How do you feel about the issue of a union for wrestlers, or is it just that the nature of the business just makes it impossible?
It's way too late for that to happen.
Too late? Would it have taken someone like you or Hogan 15 years ago to be involved in something like that?
Well, they tried to do that 20 years ago, but I wasn't going to get involved in that.
Is that because of your personal politics, or?
No, it's just that I'm happy with the way things are. And unions cause problems. Look at the NFL. They're the whole league is on a back burner now, because, and I know some of the player reps, they're not going to give in this year. There's going to be a walkout, or it'll go right to the day of practice next year. And a lot of the teams didn't invest some money this year to increase their product, to make their product better. And look at Carolina Panthers. They raised their ticket prices and didn't pick up one free agent. You know, I mean, they have a pretty good team anyway, but, you know, outside of Clausen, they didn't pick up anybody. And they do need help at some positions.
Do you think MMA encroaches on wrestling audiences, or is that crossover, is that non-existent?
Well, I think this crossover doesn't affect us at all.
No?
No.
Why is that?
Because it's two different audiences. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that wrestling fans don't watch it, but it's two different audiences.
Okay.
My take on MMA is that those guys are phenomenal athletes and got extraordinarily tough and committed, but the people that are crazy about them got nothing going on themselves.
That's a fair point. I'm not actually a fan. There's not enough story.
No, I actually think that most of the male public that is crazy for that, or they're living vicariously with something they could never be.
Well, arguably with wrestling as well, of course, you know.
But wrestling's more, we're more entertainment based.
Okay.
It's pretty hard. MMA is what it is, man. Those guys are out there trying to kill each other. And the guys that are sitting at home going, wow, could never find that within themselves in the first day of their life.
It's completely different psychology, or lack of psychology, I suppose. But
yeah, you know, it's just two different things. But the male audience, I think that, I mean, I watch it once in a while. Like when Lesnar fights, I like watching Brock. But and I've recognized a lot of the names, the guys that I know, like Ortiz and Shamrock, are pretty much retired. But you got to have so much respect for what those guys put themselves through. But it's a limited time frame. You know what I mean?
it certainly is.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. They had just gotten, what's the kid that's a real hard striker that was on the cover of Men's Fitness and all that? God, Randy Couture. He and Couture battled back and forth for supremacy.
Oh, I know who you mean. With the beard as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but I know who you mean.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You can't remember his name. You're in the media.
I'm not an MMA fan, though.
No, but I'm just saying, I mean, he was on the cover of every magazine.
Yeah.
They got this guy that started recognition. Next day he was gone. I mean, he's still there, but it's not.
He's going to have a long rest of his career, isn't it? Or long another 30 years.
No, but I'm saying it's hard to develop a star in that business that's going to have any longevity. A wrestling guy that develops a name for himself can do it 15 years, you know.
So, how are your sons David and Reed, and what are their current ambitions towards wrestling?
Well, David's completely out of wrestling. David is you know, very happily married with two beautiful kids, and he works for his in-laws in a small company about 30 miles out of Charlotte. And he's very happy with that. I think he sees that the window of opportunity for wrestling has come and gone, and he wasn't as committed to it as, you know, he was mixed emotions. My little one is going to be unbelievable. He will be that good.